How is it going, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's video is going to be really short, but really important. And what is that? Well, let's get into it. I have three vehicles, in case you didn't know. I have the Tahoe, I have the red Camaro, and we'll get in that in just a second. And then I have the black Camaro. But it is about preventative maintenance. The reason that is so important, I'll show you in just a second. But think about this. That is a 1993 Z28 Camaro. That right there. 1993 original motor, engine, however you want to call it. Never been rebuilt. No issues. 214,000 miles, ladies and gentlemen. 214,000. Then we have this Tahoe, which is our basically daily driver. Anytime we go anywhere out and about or on the road, we're driving this. Number one, it's big, it's comfortable, it's got everything we need. I can lay down the back seats and it'll haul anything. 190,000. That's right, 190,000. Here, I'll show you in this video clip. But boys and girls, that's why you take care of your vehicles right there. Woo! 191,000 miles. Holy moly! But that's why you maintain your vehicles. Now this car is my 2012 2SS Camaro. We're not even going to be concerned about it. It's only got 27,000 miles on it. But I am doing to it what I have always done to these cars, okay? Let me show you. There's a lot of confusion because let me show you this real quick. Look at this engine bay. It looks like absolutely new. And this is a 2007 model. Look at it, it looks like brand new. Okay? All of your manufacturers and all of your products today say, oh, it's made to last 100,000 miles, it's made to last 150,000 miles. Now, while that is true, those products are made to last that long. Number one, you should still check them or have them checked on a regular basis. And the reason for that, let's take for instance spark plugs. Hit a customer in the shop the other day. He said his car wasn't running quite like it used to after we put the tune-up in it, which was about 34,000 miles ago. So we put the tune-up in it, which is today's car really doesn't get a tune-up. Basically all you're doing is you're changing the coils if it needs it, the plugs if it needs it, and the wires. It's pretty much all a tune-up consists of nowadays, outside of going into the computer, and a lot of people don't even mess with that. But he said it every once in a while, just get a little stumble, you know, sitting at a stoplight or something. Well, most people would say, oh, it's not the plugs, it's not the wires, it's not this, because they're a 100,000 mile item. Okay. 34,000 miles later, look at these plugs. Same car, different side of the engine. The one to your right, this one, the darkest one, was on the driver's side. This one was on the passenger side. All the ones that came out of the passenger side look like that. All the ones that came out of the driver's side look like that. And if you can see, the gap really wore down between the stem and the electrode. Look at that, pretty wore down. This one's even worse. Hope you can see that. So all this, although this is made to last 100,000 miles, as you can see, the gap is just horrendous. I mean, that is twice the gap it should be, okay? He had other issues. He had a O-ring that was leaking oil down into the pistons, and it was causing a little bit of misfire issue with the plugs. But with that said, even though we wasn't even quite halfway there, you can see the gap is opened up. So what I'm trying to tell you is, even though the product is made to last 100,000 miles, by the time you get to that 100,000 mile lifespan, that gap is going to be so huge, your gas mileage is going to suck, your performance is going to suck. You'll notice the difference you'll be like, man, this thing needs a tune-up bad. It doesn't run anywhere like it did when y'all first put the last tune-up in it. And it's true, because stuff wears. It doesn't matter what they say. Brakes are the same type of item. They're made to last a certain amount of time, depending on your driving. If you drive highway miles, your brakes are going to last twice to 3 times as long as somebody drives city miles. So what I'm trying to get across to you is preventative maintenance, guys. Preventative maintenance. Like I said, this Tahoe has 190,000 miles on it. Tahoes don't last that long. They don't, unless you take care of them. 1993 Z28 that has been driven hard its whole life. Trust me, it's been driven hard. 214,000 miles. Runs like new. And how do you do preventative maintenance? Well, it's very simple. Okay, let me get to these items under the hood. Most of today's modern cars, especially the ones that are manufactured in the United States, have a way of checking. Stuff that you can check, right? Brake fluid. Anything that you can check is normally marked. Most of the auto manufacturers in the United States mark it with yellow, okay? Not everybody, like Toyota and some Nissans, mark theirs in orange for whatever reason. That's all fine and dandy. What I'm trying to get you to understand is they are marked so that you can check them. Brake fluid. It has a minimum and a maximum level on the side, okay? It has a max and a minimum. And right now I'm halfway in between. So I know that by monitoring this and knowing that I don't have any leaks, it's about time for my brakes to be changed. So I've got about 30% left, and I did another video, and I'll post it up there where I did end links on this car. Okay, I did end links on this because they wore out from going over the bridge when they was building it and everything. It wore out the bushings, and you know, 190,000 miles. Well, stuff's going to wear. So while I was in there, I checked my brakes. But while we're on here, we want to check our shock absorbers. Make sure there's no liquid or fluids or anything falling down. You want to check the bushings, where all that stuff goes. You want to check your ball joints. Yeah, they're a little greasy from keeping them greased over the years, but the boot's not busted, as you can see. You know, you want to just give everything a good once over. Lower control arm bushings are good on both sides. Upper control arm bushings are good on both sides, which those things rarely ever go bad. But you know, while you're under here, just give everything a visual inspection. All my studs for the lug nuts look good. There's no lip on my rotors. There's no ridges or dugout areas on the rotors. You don't hear a lot of you don't see a lot of heat burn or hot spot where it would have got hot, discolored areas. You don't see none of that going on. So everything looks good. And this is what I mean by maintaining your vehicle. You check stuff on a regular basis. Like, I wouldn't check this for another month or two. Some people don't check. They wait for the brakes to start squealing, and then they come in, and all of a sudden they got to replace the rotors and the brakes. Well, look, my rotors are good. There's no lip, there's no gouges, there's no nothing. But the brake pads are down to 30%, so I know within the next couple months I need to change the brakes. So I know that my brakes are low, they're down to 30%, and it's really time for me to change them. So I'll do that before long, and I'll do a video on it. But while I was in there, I looked at every time I do a video. Anyhow, while I was in there, I looked at my upper control arms, my lower control arms, the bushings, the ball joints, the tie rod ends, all that stuff. All the bushings were good. All the bushings were good. All the ball joints was good. Everything was good. But I did have a couple of greasable fittings while I was in there, so I went ahead and greased those fittings. I cleaned them off real good, greased them, and then cleaned them afterwards. The reason I cleaned them afterwards is so it doesn't get a buildup of grease or anything. I mean, not grease, dirt, grime, road buildup, you know, stuff that comes up off the road. And I also put a cap on it so it doesn't clog the nipple on the grease fitting, so that when I do go to do it next time, it won't be clogged up with dirt and stuff. So while you're doing one thing, check other things. That way you know if your vehicle needs attention. And like I said, here are some things that you can check. Your brake fluid. The most important thing outside of getting your car running is stopping. Check it. Check it regular. And it'll tell you right on the cap, .3. That is the type of brake fluid that your manufacturer recommends using. The weight of the vehicle combined with the stopping of the brake system of the vehicle and all that goes into designing the brake fluid that they recommend for this. The boiling point of the fluid is rated for the weight of the vehicle and the types of brakes that I have. .3 is what it recommends. Put .3 in it. I mean, you don't need anything else unless you're racing your Tahoe, and you're not going to be racing a Tahoe. But check that. Next thing up, and it is not marked in yellow, but it is marked in white. Power steering fluid is very easy. Open it up, shake off the excess, and pull it up. There's hash marks in there that shows you minimum and maximum, low, full, Get it, guys? Come over. Air filters, very simple. There's a bolt there. There's a bolt there. One there, one there. And it's up to you if you want to take this off. I normally don't because it's a pain in the butt to get back on. Take these 4 bolts out, this whole cap will lift up and your filter's right in there. Check it. I recommend checking all this stuff minimum every time you change the oil. But like the oil and stuff, you need to check it once a week at least. At least once a week, check the stuff. Oil, a lot of times it'll have oil or engine oil written on the end of the dipstick. And transmission fluid. Transmission fluid, it has to be on level ground and idling at temperature, okay? In other words, don't just crank it up and check it. Crank it up, let it run for a few minutes and then check it because it needs to be at temperature. So you know that everything is good to go. But if you do these things yourself, rather than relying on somebody else or waiting on a problem to happen, like your brakes go to squealing, trust me, by the time your brakes go to squealing, it's already too late. Because what has happened is that squealer is going to start eating into your rotor, and then the rivets and stuff that hold the brake material to the brake pad is going to start eating into the metal, and then you're going to have to spend a couple extra $100 to replace the rotors rather than just the brakes, okay? So rather than fixing one problem, now you got to fix 2. Make sense to you? But yeah, you do all these things and I guarantee you your car will last so much longer. I mean, this is a huge investment besides your house. Your house is your number 1, your vehicles is your number 2. You can't go to work if you don't have a way, right? Keep your vehicles maintained. You don't have to keep them this pristine, this shiny, you know, this clean and everything, but at least check the stuff on a regular basis. I recommend checking oil minimum once a week. Check your air pressure. Don't rely on those freaking computers to tell you when your tires are low, because it's not instantaneous. Say you're supposed to have 32, you got 30, you go out there and you put air in it, you walk back and look at the computer. It's not going to instantly show that you have more tire pressure than what you had when you pulled up. So you're going to come back and put more. Well, before you know it, you got too much. Do not count on that to tell you when you're low. And I have found that some, depending on manufacturers and whether you're buying good product or cheap product, it'll be off a couple pounds anyway. Get you a tire pressure gauge. Check your tires once a week. Check your oil once a week minimum, okay? Now, I'm not saying be fanatical about it. I'm just saying do it. Your vehicle will appreciate it. Your vehicle will last. Some cars just use oil. Tahoes, for instance, for whatever reason, I have never seen one that did not burn a little bit of oil. Brand new, old, low mileage, high mileage, they all do it for whatever reason. It's like it's built into it. So I keep mine checked. 190,000 miles on this engine. 214,000 on the black car. Hopefully this one will last just as long. Simple, guys. Get out there and start checking this stuff yourself. Very easy, very, very simple. But like I say, get out there and enjoy your vehicle. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for stopping by.